Welcome to the kbbreview podcast, the show all about the ins and outs and ups and downs of being an independent kitchen and bathroom retailer. I'm Andy Davis, the editor of kbbreview, and this is another in our very special bonus series of interviews marking our milestone 500th issue. We published our first issue back in 1984, and since then we've brought retailers the latest news, big interviews, unwavering opinions, valuable advice, deep analysis and product insights. And this longevity is not by accident. We are as buffeted by the uncertain and unpredictable market as much as anyone, and our heritage is built as much on resilience as it is on quality. And this is what we're exploring in this series. We're talking to some of the industry's leading suppliers about their resilience, their history, continuity, and investments in the future. So in this episode, we're meeting Arthur Leaker, the founder of distributor Leaker Direct. It recently celebrated its 25th anniversary, and it's a very successful company operating in the part of the supply chain that has seen the most disruption. So resilience is tested on an almost daily basis. So how does he manage that, and how does he plan for the future? So here is Arthur Leaker. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you for sparing us a bit of your time. It's such an interesting time to talk to you about this topic of resilience. Let's get the context right first. Everyone will know Leaker Direct, but can you give me the quick potted history of it, of the company, and the kind of sort of scale it operates at?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we started off year 2000. We managed to secure Siemens as a product for distribution. Tika had just bought Cooper's Bush at the same time, so I went to see them and we agreed to take them on as well. So then I picked up sinks, taps, range cookers, things like that, and that was us off. We had a great time for first 10 years. Everything was going swimmingly well, and then we had the big crash in 2009 and lost a lot of customers then. Lost hundreds of customers at that period. And we got by all that. And then the next biggest thing was internet appliance sales built in. And that was probably a bigger effect than even the crash was. A lot of manufacturers dived into online retail without taking the time to look at the effect it was going to have in their other channels, without protecting their brands, without protecting their pricing structures. And it meant that built-in appliances, which were previously retailable with a healthy margin, became non-retailable with a healthy margin. And that situation probably lasted for most of the 2010s. And then obviously some manufacturers got a grip of it, sorted it out. Some went wholeheartedly into it even more. And then when COVID came along, that caused a wee bit of restructure again of things. And it probably settled down a wee bit after COVID, where more manufacturers got a grip of their structures and their pricing. And some brands became more retailable than others, and that settled things down a wee bit.
So obviously you're predominantly Scotland, but you do operate outside of Scotland as well, but you're a very proudly Scottish company, quite right too. What's your current reading of the market as it is here and now? How is business at the moment, and how are you seeing, because it is very difficult, but it seems to go in peaks and troughs. What's your reading of it?
Overall, the market's a wee bit flat. We have a mixture of channels we operate in. So kitchen retail's a wee bit flat, bathroom retail's a wee bit flat. House builders, new build house builders are not selling houses as quickly as they used to. Things are a wee bit flat just now, and there's all sorts of reasons for that. I mean, we'll watch the news every night and you see all the reasons that slow things down, and all these government decisions on various things that they cause people to not spend money and not buy houses, not move houses and not update houses, and it's caused a wee bit of a flattening. And obviously we've got a lot of channels. We're in national house builders, we're in regional house builders, we're in kitchen studios, bathroom studios, merchants, etc. And nobody's having a bouncing great time just now. Everybody's getting by, but it's not the best time it's ever been.
One of the reasons why I'm so pleased to talk to you today is that clearly any discussion about resilience is really interesting when it comes to distribution. That part of the supply chain has seen an awful lot of disruption over the last few years, and there's been some big towering companies that have gone. So what's your take on that, and how to make it work successfully? What's the secret to maintaining distribution in this market and being resilient when it's really difficult?
I think your size helps that, because we are small enough to be flexible, small enough to move direction quickly. We can jump into a product very quickly if the market's looking for it and it's available. We can jump out a product very quickly if the product's crashing and dying. To be quite honest with you, the staggering amount of disruption and change in the market over the last 2 years has been quite amazing to witness. And for me personally, I'll look at what these guys have been doing and ask myself the question, why did this go wrong? And I look at what they're doing and I see what I think they've done wrong, and I try and make sure we don't do any of that. So while diversification's a great thing, I'm never going to diversify into being a hairdresser. I'll always stick to the channels that we're in and that we know, and we will never go out with certain parameters, because when you go outside them, you lose your focus, you lose your staff focus, you lose your ability in the market. And I think sometimes things have went too far with diversification. And I think sometimes there's certain aspects of business which the margin return on is very limited. And if you're only doing that, you're going to catch a cold. And we've seen that in the market. And I think that because we've got quite a few channels and there's different margin mixes in the channels, that helps us to come through the other side in a reasonably healthy way, as opposed to concentrating too much on one thing.
So obviously diversification in terms of moving away from what you're good at is one thing, but you do actually have a very diverse business in terms of the channels that you operate in. You know, you do operate in lots of different bits within the remit of what you're good at. You're understanding what you're good at, but also being able to spread that across enough channels that you could that one will shore up the other when perhaps they're going up and down.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how it works. I mean, we've just this year opened up a contracts division specifically for national house builders to pick up a lot of slack that's been left by things that have happened previously. So that's doing great as well. So while some of the other channels are a wee bit flat, as I said, that's come on new, and it's bringing something to the party, and it means that the overall thing looks okay at the end of it, despite there being various ups and downs within it.
I think part of being a resilient business is about learning from the times when things aren't brilliant, right? So you've talked about Brexit and COVID and those kind of things, and the financial crash of 2008. What have you learned from those periods that you've come away a better business from?
What you learn is that your own internal efficiency must be top notch. You can't carry passengers. You must be able to have visibility and see what's working and what isn't. And you must be able to take decisions to stop doing the things that aren't working and concentrate on the things that are working. And that's, I see a lot of companies who would change and they stick to a rigid format. And, there's quite possible reasons they won't change. They may be tied into things. They may be forced into it to an extent. I don't allow that. If it's not working, it needs to go. It needs to change. I did some rationalisation at lockdown, closed a couple of things in divisions that weren't working, causing us a lot of problems. And we get rid of all them, streamlined. A lot of businesses, when after lockdown we had the big backlog, a lot of businesses thought that was the new norm, and they probably over-invested in it. They over-capacitated. We went the other way. I sat the staff down and said, listen guys, we're not taking any people on. We've been careful with stock. We're not expanding. We're going to ride this out and we'll see what comes out the other side, because I didn't see any environment in which that would continue. It was a backlog. It was never anything but a backlog. Now, lots of companies didn't look at it that way and thought they could accelerate into that and then hold it there, but you can't maintain it. I mean, Andrew, a kitchen now compared to a kitchen for a house builder before COVID is probably 35% more expensive. Now, that's a mixture of chipboard prices, which affect carcasses, doors, appliance prices, worktop prices, all that stuff. So what you have is if anybody can explain to me how a 35% on average increase on a whole kitchen package from 1 year to a couple of years later is going to create more business, well, they operate in a different school of economics from what I do, because I wasn't seeing that. So obviously we allowed for that. We didn't expand the business. We contained it. We kept it very, very tight. Came through. It was a difficult period with the backlog because it was very, very busy. But when we came out the other side of it, we were in a good place because we hadn't overstretched ourselves.
Do you think the fact that your name is above the door, it's your company, do you think that makes a difference when it comes to thinking about longevity and forward planning? You're not worried about shareholders next week or whatever. It's all about you and you trying to build a long-term sustainable business here. Do you think that makes a difference that you can make those decisions with that in mind?
The biggest thing that matters, Andrew, is, see, because my name's above the door, over my dead body will it ever go burst. That's the biggest thing. My personal motivation is I cannot allow that to go burst. Right? It's not allowed. So I must make sure that it's always there. The staff have been with me a long time. I've got more staff with over 20 years service than anybody I know. They're a great bunch, and I've got to make sure that survives through that. And it's because my name's above the door. I think if you're working for ABC distribution and it's shareholders or it's venture capital or something like that, how invested are you in the business? You're picking up a salary at the end of the month. How much do you really care? I'm not sure. I haven't done that for a long time. But personally, I cannot allow anything to go wrong with it. So if it needs tough decisions made, I make them. Does it make me popular? No. Do I care? No. As long as that place opens up every Monday morning with my name above the door, I'm happy. If it ever, I just can't envisage a scenario where it doesn't. And I tell you what, I feel so sorry for everybody in the last 2 years when I see all these competitors of mine, and I knew them all personally. I can't believe what it must be like to wake up on a Monday morning and not have a work to go to, not have your business to go to, especially the guys that started these businesses, that were directors. I can't envisage what that would be like. So that's the motivation for me, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a very personal investment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, distribution, you're the middleman. That's basically what the job is. So how much do you look for resilience, as we keep using this word, in your suppliers, in the brands that you deal with? How much are you watching them to see how they behave in these kind of situations? Because obviously, just distribution itself has gone through a lot of turmoil, but there's big brands have fallen over as well. And there's big brands that are out there that are struggling. So how much do you look for that in the people that are supplying you? And I suppose, and equally, in the people that you are supplying.
The people we're supplying, anybody can buy off us, but we'll determine the terms they buy it, so that protects us. But in terms of manufacturers, we must be able to have a relationship with them. We must be singing off the same hymn sheet. They must want to work with us. We must want to do the same things, or it just doesn't work. So I'm very, very strict on this. When my supplier becomes my competitor, they can't be my supplier anymore. There's no point in arguing about it or falling out about it. I just say, guys, listen, you're going down a path where you're becoming a competitor to me, so we need to move away. Simple as that. So the guys that we work with, we have good relationship with them. We work well. We do joint ventures to make sure we get things to happen in both our interests. And the guys we've got on board just now are all very good that way, and they're all very supportive. And we do our best to support. At the end of the day, a distributor, needs to support the manufacturer. Manufacturer doesn't need to support the distributor, but if they don't, you end up looking for something to replace it, and you don't get the best out of it, and nobody wins. So it's very, very important. I still keep my eye on all that stuff. I'm very careful with all that.
One of the things about distribution is you're working on very narrow margins. That's how it works. You're a volume-based business with low margins, and that's how the distribution model works. So efficiency is everything. You have to be as efficient as you possibly
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah.
But particularly saw this when we had lots of supply issues through COVID, is that efficiency can actually count against you when something goes wrong. You need to build in a certain amount of buffer, but how big that buffer should be against efficiency is a really difficult balance to strike. So how do you approach that?
Well, we've been at this a long time, Andrew. So we've a lot of square footage, and we can buy a lot of stock, and we've got a very, very advanced stock control system. We monitor it on a monthly basis. We know what's moving, what isn't. We know our stock turn figures, and there's a lot of it's computerized and it's automatically dealt with by the software. But obviously I stick my nose in as well, and we're very, very careful that we want 100% continuity in the products that we do at all costs. Sometimes things happen at factories and blah, 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 but we will always find a solution. We'll offer an alternative. We'll do an upgrade. We'll always get the job complete one way or another, and we'll not charge anybody extra for that. That's part of the service. And we're very strict at that. And what creates resilience is efficiency. Inefficiency kills you. So we have got triple check systems on goods in, goods out. We've got very, very advanced stock control systems, and we do a monthly stock control, whole operation, last day of every month, full stock check, every month without fail. So if we go on the computer and there's one item shown in stock, that's in the box out there, and it's not damaged, it's not a return, it's not get somebody's name written all over it. It is in there sellable because a stock control system takes care of that. And that's what creates resilience.
How much do you think your customers, say the retailers, for example, how much do you think they look to you for that reliability, that resilience? They know that Leaker Direct is going to deliver when they deliver. They're not going to go anywhere. They trust you that your status is what you say it is. They look for that in their supplier, even if you might not be the cheapest option, you're the most reliable option, and people are prepared to pay for that. So how much do you think they look for that when they deal with you?
Yeah, I think the guys that buy off us regularly know that, and that's why they come. I mean, you have a mixture of customers. You've got regular customers, you've got intermediate customers, and you've got customers that buy sporadically. And kitchen retail in particular, they'll generally go at the cheapest place all the time. Simple as that. And they don't really care about all the other things until it bites them in the bum, and then they do care about it. So, and you can't stop that. That's just human instinct. Everybody wants a deal, everybody wants a bargain, everybody wants the best price. We work hard on, we've just launched a big, massive promotional activity with trade packs, bulk deals, end-of-line clearance. I mean, the end-of-line clearance is the best buy you'll ever get in the industry. The bulk deals are fantastic. The trade deals are industry leading. But there's always somebody online selling something at a daft price, etc. So you can't win all of them. But the regular customers know that we don't let them down, and they know they're going to get what they want, and when they order it, they can relax. No, we send them an immediate confirmation of order. They know it's coming on the day. So you obviously work hard to try and pick up the intermediate and the less frequent purchases, but the bulk of the business comes from your regular customers, and they know what they're getting from us.
Well, let's sort of round this up here, because again, it's such a fascinating part of the market at the moment. It's great to talk to somebody who knows it as the ins and outs of it as well as you do. But let's step outside of your sector and our sector here. Is there a brand out there that you really admire and watch out for how they do things? Is there other companies that you watch and think what they do brilliantly?
That's very interesting. That's very interesting, because I actually personally watch quite a few companies to see what they do, because I'm fascinated at how they go about things. I mean, Tesla, for example, I decided I needed to change my wife's car. I had a look at a Tesla online, was able to book a test drive from a place 5 minutes from my office. We turned up, downloaded the app, jumped into a Tesla, drove it for an hour and came back. And I came back and ordered one online, and I didn't even speak to anybody. That for me was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I love Rolex. I watch the way Rolex operate. I've never seen a manufacturer who are so strict at protecting their channels, protecting their price structure, creating demand, creating a lack of availability to hold prices. So anybody who retails Rolex can't fail. But it's very hard to get to retail Rolex because their requirements are so stringent. You'll lose a Rolex dealership if you've got a waste bin in the wrong place in your showroom. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So that's two that I watch and I think, wow, that's really, really special what they're doing. They're out with norms for me. I mean, I went to a Porsche garage a week past Friday. I saw something, wanted to go and have a go at it. So I phoned them up, made an appointment to come in. It must have taken me an hour and 20 minutes to get a test drive. And in Tesla, I literally went on my phone, downloaded the app, drove up. No salesman in the car or anything. You're on your own in the Tesla. And I thought, wow, this is special.
That's really clever, isn't it? And I think that kind of smooth user experience and building a brand to the point of desirability, they're the two goals, aren't they? Arthur, thank you so much for this. It's so interesting. And it's going to be really interesting to see what you do next and what your next move is. So thank you so much for your time, mate. It's been really, really good.
No, thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me. All best.